Hello, in this video I'm going to be showing you a couple more commonly used Photoshop techniques. Generally, when designing spreads you don't want to do too much Photoshopping, so I'm not going to show you too much, but basically don't use Photoshop if you don't need to, unless it's important for your design. So again, in this video I'll be showing you some common frustrating things that you can encounter in Photoshop and how to avoid them. So I'm just basing this off what I experienced. And these images here, remember, are from Wikimedia Commons because these are royalty-free images and you won't be breaking any copyright laws. So the first thing you do whenever you get a photo is always make sure that the picture's pretty nice quality. This is a big picture, and the cameras that we use in journalism are big pictures, so don't use your own digital camera to take pictures because otherwise it might turn out a little pixely. So I've downloaded the files, and suppose I wanted to put these two images together in Photoshop. So what I would do is open them in Photoshop. And two ways to do this. First one, you can put one picture into another one. Let's say I could crop this fish out. Oops. I could crop this fish out and just move it to this mouse picture. Or I could create a new one. And to make a new one, you just go to File, New. And this is the default photo one. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, maybe 8 by 12 inches. And say OK. So now you've got a file with one empty layer in it. And it turns out you can actually delete this layer if you had another one. There's no locked background layer when you create a new picture. So first, let's take this mouse and crop it. So here I'm using the lasso tool. And this is not the best selection job, but the lasso tool is one way to select an object. And to move it, what I could do is go to Edit, Copy, or Cut. If I want to keep this picture the way it is, I don't want to modify or anything, I could use simply cut because the picture wouldn't matter. But in this case, I'll just press Copy, go to here, and paste. So you notice this mouse has been pasted into the first layer. And this box appears around it. This box appears when I check something called Show Transform Controls, which is pretty useful because it lets you see where this mouse is. For example, if I grab this, it would move the mouse. And if you actually click one of these, it lets you do things like rotating. So I could rotate it this way by dragging and holding this, or going here and rotating as well. And it's very similar in InDesign, actually. They work the same way. And there's also some interesting transform controls you can do here to warp the mouse. Like here's a extra let's see what we can do with this. Yeah, mouse got sucked into a I don't know, into a washing machine or something. And you have to press the check mark when you're done. So for example, if you press this and you did whatever you wanted with the mouse, and then you go to use the brush tool, it might ask you to say apply the transformation, right? Or if you had another layer, it wouldn't let you select it. So let me show you what I mean by that. If you had another layer where you were drawing some random things in, and you went back to this one and played around with it, you won't be able to go back to the second layer even though I'm clicking it, and that's because of this check mark. Sometimes the window will mask this up so you won't be able to tell. So always try to make your window big so you can see that there's these check marks, and that's one common source of frustration. Another one is, suppose I wanted to erase some of this blue lines, and I get my eraser tool make a big brush, but I noticed I can't erase anything. It turns out I'm erasing this mouse here, and it's because my layer is selected as layer 1. So that's another common issue, is you have to use the right layer when you want to edit the contents of that layer. So to erase the blue stuff, I would use this stuff here. Okay, so let's say I'm done with my piece of art here. Save it to a safe place. Work. And that's it. It will have the alpha channel and everything, but I'm not going to save this one because I don't like it. Instead, what I'm going to do is move this clownfish to the mouse layer. So I'm going to use the magnetic lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool is really good for cropping people because it's pretty smart and it can figure out edges. Oops. So I've just drawn a couple squares outside of the fish, and to undo that, what I do is press backspace, delete once or a couple times, and for every delete I press, it'll erase one of them. And if I wanted to set a square manually, all I have to do is left click. So I'll just do a really crummy job here. You get the idea. But in reality, you want to be much more careful when you're cropping people, pictures of people, and things like that. Okay, so now that I've selected this, I'll press Control Cut. And you notice that since this is a JPEG picture, instead of alpha showing in the background, it just deletes it. That's the way these images are. And I paste. Okay. So now I want to draw maybe some random blue circles. And the best way to draw circles is to use, instead of using this tool here, I found out that it's kind of complicated drawing with circles. Sorry, excuse me. Because these shapes have these weird things, and that I never understand how these things work. Shape 1, it's very confusing. So instead of, see what I mean. Instead of doing that, what we're gonna do is go to the selection tool, the marquee tool, and create a circle, or whatever you want. Hold shift to make a perfect circle. And if you want to fill the circle, you go to edit, fill, and this lets you fill with any color you want. There you go. And if you have it still selected, you can also move it around. And you've noticed that since I've put that circle in the fish layer, it basically fills the contents of the selection with this with blue. So by moving it from the same layer, the fish is still blue. I mean, sorry, the part under the fish layer is cropped out because it was, chopped into this. So let's say I want to draw some more stuff. And you notice that even though I'm in the correct layer, the top layer, the visible layer, I can't draw anything. And it's because selection actually limits the places you can draw. So I could draw here if I wanted to, like this, but it won't go out because of the selection. So to do that, you have to go again to one of the selection tools and just say deselect. And that's it.